Now you know how much I love talking about Disney all the time with just about everyone, but I always find it interesting to talk to those who aren't as familiar with Disney as we are. So today I'm going to make a video all about things that you may not know about Walt Disney World if it's your first time or even your third time that'll help you along your trip. Now the other day I was talking to a coworker who's going to take her son to Walt Disney World, and I was talking about a few attractions that she had no idea about, so it inspired me to make this list about attractions that are really good that a lot of first timers or those who are relatively new don't know about. Now in this video I'm not going to be talking about those extremely popular attractions like Space Mountain or Pirates of the Caribbean. Today we're going to talk about items that are a little less well known. First on my list is Mickey's PhilharMagic. You know, one reason I think Mickey's PhilharMagic is not as well known as Just a Small World or Peter Pan is because it's located right next to them. So people go directly for Peter Pan or Small World and they completely miss Mickey's PhilharMagic. I do love that show and the 3D effects are awesome. When you're at Disney's Animal Kingdom, you're probably thinking about Kilimanjaro Safaris and those two stage shows and Expedition Everest, but Dinosaur is definitely a must-see. For those with kids or kids at heart, Phineas and Ferb's World Showcase Adventure at Epcot is a great way to travel the countries of the world and still be able to interact with some of the fun Disney magic. The Grand Fiesta Tour starring Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros in Mexico is sometimes overlooked when you're walking really quick around World Showcase. Now you know I love Soarin', it's high on my priority list, but right next to Soarin' you've got Living with the Land. A lot of people who are first timers don't know about Living with the Land. Now for those who are relatively new to Disney, it's okay, we've all been there at one point or another. That large geodesic sphere, some people like to call the golf ball or the large ball of Epcot. It's not a golf ball, it's not a big ball, it's a geodesic sphere. Spaceship Earth is a ride, you can go inside, it's really cool, it's all about human communication. It's a must just about every trip of mine. Now when you see the animals on Kilimanjaro Safaris, that's actually not the only animals you can see. You can also go on the Maharaja Jungle Trek and see some more animals. It's like a walking zoo, it's really cool. Now those are just a few of my favorite, not so well known rides at Disney, but now let's go over a few tips and tricks you're going to want to know, especially if you're relatively new. I make this mistake all the time by not drinking enough water at Disney, and I'm walking 10 plus miles every day. It's a huge place and it's really hot, so make sure you're drinking lots of water. The last thing you want to do is pass out when you're at Disney and then you have to be taken off by a stretcher. You don't want that to happen. Drink water. Now many first timers don't know this, but you can actually get free, and yes, I did say free cups of water from just about every counter service location at Walt Disney World. Now many of the counter service spots only give you a very small cup, so don't be afraid to ask for a larger one or several of the small ones. While we're talking about water, some guests, including some members of my family, don't like the taste of the Florida filtered water. So if you're not a fan of that Florida water taste, or maybe you're thinking you probably won't be, I've linked a bottle in the description of this video that my family carries around. They're these special white bottles, they have another filter in them, and it helps a little bit. It helps a little bit. You can distill that taste out just a little bit. Now the second tip you want to know about, there are fantastic restaurants at Walt Disney World. It is not just chicken nuggets and cotton candy. Even though I wouldn't mind chicken nuggets and cotton candy, I mean that sounds delicious. To get a seat at some of these fantastic restaurants, you're definitely going to want to book dining reservations in advance. It's absolutely critical to getting a good seat at the good restaurants, especially during the crowded times of year. Now I know that not everyone is a planner like me. I totally get that. If you're not, that's okay. But I want you to note, the longest lines for rides don't necessarily mean the best attraction. It is a very common misconception, even for those who are going maybe for the 5th time, they're not so sure, they say, oh look, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, it must be the best because it's a 2.5 hour wait. As an example, if you dropped me in Universal tomorrow and you said, Michael, go have a great time, I wouldn't know where to go, I wouldn't know which ride is best, I would just assume the longest line means the best ride, so just keep that in mind. Something I want to mention in this video, FastPasses are included with the price of theme park admission. Now the reason I bring this up, a friend of mine who was recently having another friend help her with her Disney trip, and this person wasn't verified by any travel company or Disney, was charging an extra amount for FastPasses. When I heard about that, I just felt so bad for her, and I explained it to her, and she worked it all out, but just know, FastPasses are included with the price of theme park admission. Now another tip, don't be afraid to ask those cast members questions. They are so helpful, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. Excuse me, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Really? Speaking of those wonderful cast members, if you notice one that is going above and beyond, you can also compliment them on Twitter by using the hashtag #CastCompliment. I do it every trip. When I see a cast member go above and beyond, I always tell the WDW Today Twitter feed how great they are doing, and they usually give them a piece of paper, says cast compliment. Don't be afraid to do it. They do a great job and make the magic come true every single day. This is Victoria. She's an awesome cast member at VR Guest. Thanks for your help, Victoria.
Thanks, Michael.
Another common misconception is that you can't visit the Disney resorts without staying there. Now that is absolutely not true. You can visit any Disney resort on property, no cost. There's no cost to it. It's a lot of fun. It's called resort hopping. I highly recommend it for those who have been a few times and want to try something new. Now perhaps some of you are saying, Michael, you've been to the Contemporary like 12.5 times. What could possibly be the appeal of going again and again? The answer is I love it. I love going every time. It's more magical every time I see it. And I always, I don't know how, seem to see something new every time. Now the Disney Parks app is extremely helpful in getting around Walt Disney World. They've got wait times, they've got the times of the shows and the parades, they've got even a map that you can see where you're going. Highly recommend you download it before you go on your trip. Now these are just a few of my favorite tips for those who are new to the Disney community and really want to go to Walt Disney World. I sure hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite tip is from this video. And I want to hear from our fellow Disney enthusiasts out there. What is something that you hear a lot of first-timers don't know about? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.